Oh, Amiya, everybody. Hello, hello, you guys. Good morning or good night if it's nighttime in your area. Hello, hello, oh, Amiya. I'm happy to see you guys. I got a little bit of a sore throat today. Plus, I've been having some sneezes and stuff. So I'm a little bit stuffed up, but it's okay. Just, I might have to, I might have to mute at some point to my throat or something like that. So just be aware of that. I'm not gonna sneeze on you guys. Okay, hold on. Let me check because it's hard for me to see you guys. You guys can go right here. There we go. Hi guys. This is Tsunderia Gen 3, Dream Maven Spider Mama Amiya Aranha. I hope you guys can hear me okay. Please let me know if there's any issues with the sound. It should be the same as last time. I have not changed any of the settings since last time, so you guys should be able to still hear me okay. Hold on 1 second. Okay, I think it might have actually been different from last time because last time I had it's good now. Okay, perfect. This is what it was last time. Yeah, I forgot to have it set to stereo, and then I think I must have turned the gain down, so this should be a lot better for you guys. And sorry if my face goes wackadoodle every once in a while. It's because the microphone kind of blocks my face a little bit, but I have a taller stand now, so I can make it a little bit taller. But this is kind of as good as it gets, so forgive me for that. I'm gonna take a sip of my coffee. I'm so freaking sleepy. You guys can't hear that, can you? Should I mute? Okay. Oh no. You guys, it's too early for this. It's too early. I feel embarrassed already. Okay, I'm gonna skip saying hi to everyone today as well, okay? So just hi to everyone. Just hi to everyone. Oh, and super chats and any kind of notifications I will get to on Monday, okay? No, I don't have the new mic yet, so some kind people on throne funded a 3ZO for me, so next time I do an ASMR stream, it will be using that. Yeah. A bunch you guys did, yeah. Okay. Today, I'm going to be reading some Beatrix Potter stories for you guys. And so to give you guys some background about these stories and why I love them so much, is that when I was younger, I had a big compilation Beatrix Potter book. Now these Beatrix Potter stories, I believe they were written in the 1800s, so they're quite old. But it's a lot of really cute drawings and a lot of really cute, silly stories. Yeah, I can put a buckle maybe on my head. Would that be okay? I'll put it on my head. Hold on. How is that, you guys? Oh, I think I forgot to mute. I'm so sorry. There you go. There, now you're nice and cozy on the top. Okay, so the first story I'm going to read to you guys is a story I think you guys are familiar with, and it's called The Tale of Tom Kitten. Okay. It wasn't too loud. Did I clear my throat in that? I think I may have. Okay, hold on. Can you hear the book noises? My nails are very short right now, so there's not that many good noises, you know. That's the sound of the book. Really, it's just like the tip of my fingers tapping it. So that's the way the book sounds. Okay. So, The Tale of Tom Kitten by Beatrix Potter. Well, they're all by Beatrix Potter. So, open the book. Hopefully you guys can hear the page sounding noises as well. Or the page turning noises. I'll listen to the dedication in the book. It says, dedicated to all pickles, especially to Sorry, I accidentally muted. So the dedication is really funny, you guys. It says, dedicated to all pickles, especially to those that get upon my garden wall. I don't know, because pickles are not pickles until they become pickles are not pickles until they become pickled in brine, right? So how can a pickle grow upon your garden wall? I don't understand that. That's silly. Okay, so the first illustration is the one you guys are seeing right now. I will do my best to make them match up. Once upon a time, there were 3 little kittens, and their names were Mittens, Tom Kitten, and Moppet. They had dear little fur coats of their own, and they tumbled about the doorstep and played in the dust. But one day, their mother, Mrs. Tabitha Twitchit, expected friends to tea, so she fetched the kittens indoors to wash and dress them before the fine company arrived. His name is Tom Kitten, but also he is a kitten. Oh, she's washing Tom Kitten. First, she scrubbed. Oh no, this one is Moppet. First, she scrubbed their faces. This one is Moppet. Then, she brushed their fur. This one is Mittens. Then, she combed their tails and whiskers. This is Tom Kitten. Tom was very naughty, and he scratched. Mrs. Tabitha dressed Moppet and Mittens in clean pinafores and tuckers. And then she took all sorts of elegant, uncomfortable clothes out of a chest of drawers in order to dress up her son, Thomas. So now he's Thomas now all of a sudden. Tom Kitten, aka Thomas. Tom Kitten was very fat. And he had grown several buttons burst off. His mother sewn them on again. When the 3 kittens were ready, Mrs. Tabitha unwisely turned them out into the garden to be out of the way while she made hot buttered toast. Now keep your frocks clean, children. You must walk on your hind legs. Keep away from the dirty ash pit, and from Sally Henny Penny, and from the pigsty and the puddle ducks. Moppet and Mittens walked down to the garden path unsteadily. Presently, they trod upon their pinafores and fell on their noses. When they stood up, there were several green smears. Oh no, they're getting so messy. The story is so I hope Tom doesn't visit every place mentioned. Hold on, I need to clear my throat. Oh no, you guys could hear it the whole time. No! Why isn't my mute button working? No! 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 I'm so sorry. It barked. It barked. Hold on, I will just use my. I'm so sorry. I'm such a fool. I will cut it out of the VOD. I will cut it out of the VOD. I'm sorry. Okay. Okay, moving on. Let us climb up the rockery and sit on the garden wall, said Moppet. They turned their pinafores back to front and went up with a skip and a jump. Moppet's white tucker fell down into the road. Oh no, Moppet! He's so goofy. Tom Kitten was quite unable to jump when walking upon his hind legs in trousers. He came up the rockery by degrees, breaking the ferns and shedding buttons left and right. He's such a goofball. He was all in pieces when he reached the top of the wall. Moppet and Mittens tried to pull him together. His hat fell off, and the rest of his buttons burst. While they were in difficulties, there was a pit-pat, puddle-pat, and the 3 puddle ducks came along the hard high road, marching one behind the other, and doing the goose step, pit-pat, piddle-pat, pit-pat, waddle-pat. They stopped and stood in a row and stared up at the kittens. They had very small eyes and looked surprised. Then the 2 duck birds, Rebecca and Jemima Puddle Duck, picked up the hat and tucker and put them on. Oh no, they're stealing their clothes. This story is so goofy, I love it. Mittens laughed so hard that she fell off the wall. Moppet and Tom descended after her. The pinafores and all the rest of Tom's clothes came off all the way down. Come, Mr. Drake Puddle Duck, said Moppet. Come and help us to dress him. Come and button up Tom. Mr. Drake Puddle Duck advanced in a slow, sideways manner and picked up the various articles. But he put them on himself. They fitted him even worse than Tom Kitten. It's a very fine morning, said Mr. Drake Puddle Duck. And he and Jemima and Rebecca Puddle Duck set off up the road, keeping step. Pit-pat, paddle-pat, pit-pat, waddle-pat. Then Tabitha Twitchit came down the garden and found her kittens on the wall with no clothes on. She pulled them off the wall, smacked them, and took them back to the house. My friends will arrive in a minute, and you are not fit to be seen. I am affronted, said Mrs. Tabitha Twitchit. She sent them upstairs and I am sorry to say, she told her friends that they were in bed with the measles, which was not true. Quite the contrary. They were not in bed, not in the least. Somehow there were very extraordinary noises overhead, which disturbed the dignity and repose of the tea party. Uh-oh. And I think that someday I shall have to make another, larger book to tell you more about Tom Kitten. As for the puddle ducks, they went into a pond. The clothes all came off directly because there were no buttons. And Mr. Drake Puddle Duck and Jemima and Rebecca have been looking for them ever since. The end. What did you guys think about that story? Why are the cats wearing clothes? Because their mother had guests coming over. Their mother had guests coming over, so they had to wear, they had to be fancy. Okay, I'm gonna take some coffee. Do you guys need me to mute, or is it okay if I sip my coffee? You probably won't hear it for the most part. Okay. I cannot slurp directly into the mic, no. As long as it's not loud. Okay, hopefully that wasn't too loud. Okay. Let me get the next pictures ready, alright? Okay, there we go. I have the story up here. There we are. So the next story I'm going to read to you guys is called It's the Tailor of Gloucester. I hope I'm saying this right. Gloucester. Gloucester. Does anyone know? It's spelled Gloucester. Gloucester. The Tailor of Gloucester. Gloucester. The Tailor of Gloucester, okay. And you guys, this one is one of my favorite stories. It's more favorite than it's the same as Tom Kitten, and then other than Tom Kitten, it's my more favorite than any other story. It gets a little bit sad. Okay, so our players here are a man, a cat, and some very kind mice, okay? I love doing the tapping. I hope it sounds nice. Okay. here's the dedication in this book. My dear Frida, because you are fond of fairy tales and have been ill, I have made you a story all for yourself, a new one that nobody has read before. And the queerest thing about it is that I heard it in Gloucester. And Gloucestershire, sorry. And that it is true. At least about the tailor, the waistcoat, and no more twist. Christmas 1901. Okay. In the time of swords and periwigs and full-skirted coats with flowered lappets, when gentlemen wore ruffles and gold-laced waistcoats of paduasoy and taffeta, there lived a tailor in Gloucester. He sat in the window of a little shop in Westgate Street, cross-legged on a table from morning till dark. All day long, while the light lasted, he sewed and snippeted, piecing out his satin and pompadour and lute strings. Stuffs had strange names, and were very expensive in the days of the tailor of Gloucester. But although he sewed fine silk for his neighbors, he himself was very, very poor. A little old man in spectacles, with a pinched face. This is not the tailor, by the way. This picture is the first picture in the story. The tailor is not a mouse. I just realized the picture that's showing on the screen does not correspond with what you guys are seeing or what you guys are hearing. A little old man in spectacles, with a pinched face, old crooked fingers, and a suit of threadbare clothes. He cut his coats without waste according to his embroidered cloth. They were very small ends and snippets that lay about upon the table. 2 narrow breadths for naught, except waistcoats for mice, said the tailor. One bitter cold day near Christmas time, the tailor began to make a coat of cherry-corded silk, embroidered with pansies and roses, and a cream-colored satin waistcoat, trimmed with gauze and green worsted chenille, for the mayor of Gloucester. The tailor worked and worked, and he talked to himself. He measured the silk, and turned it round and round, and trimmed it into shape with his shears. The table was all littered with cherry-colored snippets. No breadth at all, and cut on the cross, it is no breadth at all. Tippets for mice and ribbons for mobs. For mice, said the tailor of Gloucester. When the snowflakes came down against the small lighted window panes and shut out the light, the tailor had done his day's work. All the silk and satin lay cut out upon the table. There were 12 pieces for the coat and 4 pieces for the waistcoat, and there were pocket flaps and cuffs and buttons all in order. For the lining of the coat, there was fine yellow taffeta, and for the buttonholes of the waistcoat, there was cherry-colored twist. And everything was ready to sew together in the morning, all measured and sufficient, except that there was wanting just one single skein of cherry-colored twisted silk. The tailor came out of his shop at dark, for he did not sleep there at nights. He fastened the window and locked the door, and took away the key. No one lived there at night but little brown mice, and they run in and out without any keys. For behind the wooden wainscots of all the old houses in Gloucester, there are little mouse staircases and secret trapdoors, and the mice run from house to house through those long narrow passages. They can run all over the town without going into the streets. But the tailor came out of his shop and shuffled home through the snow. He lived quite nearby in College Court, next the doorway of College Green. And although it was not a big house, the tailor was so poor he only rented the kitchen. He lived alone with his cat. It was called Simpkin. Now, all day long, while the tailor was out at work, Simpkin kept the house by himself, and he also was fond of the mice, though he gave them no satin for coats. Oh, that naughty kitten is going to catch the mice. Oh, that's him leaving his place. And this is him walking through the snow home. The pictures for this one don't match up perfectly, but that's okay. Simpkin, Simpkin. Okay. Simpkin are not buckles. Are you guys naughty kittens? Actually, you kind of are naughty kittens. Naughty kittens who care about, he cares about the tailor very much. Sort of, but he's kind of a meow hole at the same time. Okay. Meow? You guys are definitely naughty kittens. Wait, let me take a sip of coffee before I continue. I'm still a bit sleepy. Meow? Said the cat when the tailor opened the door. Meow? The tailor replied, Simpkin, we shall make our fortune, but I am worn to a ravelling. Take this groat, which is our last 4-piece, which is money, by the way. And Simpkin, take a china pipkin, buy a pen'orth of bread, a pen'orth of milk, and a pen'orth of sausages. And oh, Simpkin, with the last penny of our 4pence, buy me 1 pen'orth of cherry-colored silk. But do not lose the last penny of the 4pence, Simpkin, or I am undone and worn to a thread paper, for I have no more twist. Then Simpkin again said, Meow? And took the groat and the pipkin and went out into the dark. Oops. The tailor was very tired and beginning to be ill. He sat down by the hearth and talked to himself about that wonderful coat. I shall make my fortune to be cut bias. The mayor of Gloucester is to be married on Christmas Day in the morning, and he hath ordered a coat and an embroidered waistcoat to be lined with yellow taffeta, and the taffeta sufficeth. There is no more left over in snippets that will serve to make tippets for mice. Then the tailor started, for suddenly interrupting him from the dresser at the other side of the kitchen came a number of little noises. Tip-tap, tip-tap, tip-tap. That's the sound of mice running around. Tip-tap, tip-tap. Now, what can that be? Said the tailor of Gloucester. Jumping up from his chair, the dresser was covered with crockery and pipkins, willow patterned plates, and teacups and mugs. The tailor crossed the kitchen and stood quite still beside the dresser, listening and peering through his spectacles. Again from under a teacup came those funny little noises. Tip-tap, tip-tap, tip-tap-tip, tip-tap, tip-tap, tip-tap-tip. This is very peculiar, said the tailor of Gloucester, and he lifted up the teacup, which was upside down. Out stepped a little live lady mouse and made a curtsy up to the tailor. Then she hopped away down off the dresser and under the wainscot. The tailor sat down again by the fire, warming his poor cold hands and mumbling to himself. The waistcoat is cut out from peach-colored satin, tambour stitch, and rosebuds in beautiful floss silk. Was I wise to entrust my last 4pence to Simpkin? 1 buttonholes of cherry-colored twist. But all at once, from the dresser, there came other little noises. Tip-tap, tip-tap, tip-tap-tip. This is passing extraordinary, said the tailor of Gloucester, and turned over another teacup, which was upside down. Out stepped a little gentleman mouse and made a bow to the tailor. And then from all over the dresser came a chorus of little tappings, all sounding together and answering one another like watch beetles in an old worm-eaten window shutter. Tip-tap, tip-tap-tip, tip-tap. And out from under teacups and from under bowls and basins stepped other and more little mice who hopped away down off the dresser and under the wainscot. The tailor sat down close over the fire, lamenting. 1 buttonholes of cherry-colored silk, to be finished by noon of Saturday, and this is Tuesday evening. Was I right to let loose those mice? Undoubtedly the property of Simpkin. Alack, I am undone, for I have no more twist. The mice came out again and listened to the tailor. They took notice of the pattern of that wonderful coat. They whispered to one another about the taffeta lining and the little mouse tippets. Simpkin is so freaking goofy looking. He looks like a full-grown man. Sorry for being noisy. Oh my god, I love him. And then, all at once, they all ran away together, down the passage behind the wainscot, squeaking and calling to one another as they ran from house to house, and not one mouse was left in the tailor's kitchen when Simpkin came back with the pipkin of milk. Simpkin opened the door and bounced in with an angry meow, like a cat that is vexed, for he hated the snow. And there was snow in his ears, and snow in his collar, at the back of his neck. He put down the loaf and the sausages upon the dresser, and sniffed. Uh-oh, the tailor's in big trouble. Simpkin, said the tailor, where's my twist? But Simpkin set down the pipkin of milk upon the dresser and looked suspiciously at the teacups. He wanted his supper, a little fat mouse. Simpkin, said the tailor, where is my twist? But Simpkin hid a little parcel privately in the teapot, and spit and growled at the tailor. And if Simpkin had been able to talk, he would have asked, where is my mouse? Alack, I am undone, said the tailor of Gloucester, and went sadly to bed. All that night long, Simpkin hunted and searched through the kitchen, peeping into cupboards, and under the wainscot, and into the teapot where he had hidden the twist, but he still found never a mouse. Whenever the tailor muttered and talked in his sleep, Simpkin said, meow, and made strange, horrid noises, as cats do at night. I think Beatrix Potter may have hated kitty cats. For the poor old tailor was very ill with a fever, tossing and turning in his four-post bed, and still in his dreams he mumbled, no more twist, no more twist. All that day he was ill, and the next day, and the next. And what should become of the cherry-colored coat? In the tailor's shop in Westgate Street, the embroidered silk and satin lay cut upon the table, 120 buttonholes. And who should come to sew them when the window was barred, and the door was fast locked? The poor tailor is so sick he can't finish the coat. But that does not hinder the little brown mice. They run in and out without any keys through all the old houses in Gloucester. Out of doors, the market folks went trudging through the snow to buy their geese and turkeys, and to bake their Christmas pies. But there would be no Christmas dinner for Simpkin, and poor old tailor of Gloucester. The tailor lay ill for 3 days and nights, and then it was Christmas Eve, and very late at night. The moon climbed up over the roofs and chimneys, and looked down over the gateway into College Court. There were no lights in the windows, nor any sound in the houses. All the city of Gloucester was fast asleep under the snow. And still Simpkin wanted his mice, and he mewed as he stood beside the four-post bed. But it is in the old story that all the beasts can talk, and in the night between Christmas Eve and Christmas Day in the morning, though there are very few folk that can hear them, or know what it is that they say. When the cathedral clock struck 12, there was an answer, like an echo of the chimes, and Simpkin heard it, and came out of the tailor's door, and wandered about in the snow. From all the roofs and gables and old wooden houses in Gloucester came 1,000 merry voices, singing old Christmas rhymes. All the old songs that I ever heard of, and some I didn't know, like Whittington's Bells. I don't know that song either. Oh, this is missing some pictures. Oh no. That won't do. Hold on. Why am I talking like a British person? That simply will not do. Hold on, give me a second. Okay, guys, here we are. I found another version. It will take some adjusting, however, okay? It will take some adjusting for the pictures on each page because they will all be in different spots, but I'll do my best. First and loudest, the cocks cried out, "Dame, get up and bake your pies." "Oh, dilly, dilly, dilly," sighed Sukin. And now, in a garret, there were lights and sounds of dancing, and cats came from over the way. "Hey, diddle, diddle, the cat and the fiddle, all the cats in Gloucester." "Except me," said Simpkin. Under the wooden eaves, the starlings and sparrows sang of Christmas pies. The jackdaws woke up in the cathedral tower, and although it was the middle of the night, the throstles and robins sang. The air was quite full of little twittering tunes. But it was all rather provoking to poor hungry Simpkin. Particularly, he was vexed with some little shrill voices from behind a wooden lattice. I think they were bats, because they always have very small voices, especially in a black frost, when they talk in their sleep, like the tailor of Gloucester. They said something mysterious that sounded like buzz. Quoth the blue fly, hum. Quoth the bee, buzz and hum they cry, and so do we. And Simpkin went away, shaking his ears as if he had a bee in his bonnet. From the tailor's shop in Westgate came a glow of light, and when Simpkin crept up to peep in the windows, it was full of candles. There was a snippeting of scissors, and a snappeting of thread, and little mouse voices sang loudly and gaily. 24 tailors went to catch a snail. The best man amongst them durst not touch her tail. She put out her horns like a Kylo cow. Run, tailors, run, or she'll have you all now. I don't know what this means. Oh, my chat is not moving for some reason. There we go. Then, without a pause, the little mouse voices went on again. Sieve my lady's oatmeal, grind my lady's flour, put it in a chestnut, let it stand an hour. Meow, meow, interrupted Simpkin, and he scratched at the door, but the key was under the tailor's pillow. He could not get in. The little mice only laughed and tried another time. 3 little mice sat down to spin. Pussy passed by, and she peeped in. Where are you at, my fine little men? Making coats for gentlemen. Shall I come and cut off your threads? Oh no, Miss Pussy, you'd bite off our heads. Meow, meow, cried Simpkin. Hey, diddle dinkity. Hey, little dinkity, answered the little mice. Hey, little dinkity, poppity pet, the merchants of London, they wear scarlet, silk in the collar and gold in the hem. So merrily march the merchantmen. They clicked their thimbles to mark the time, but none of the songs pleased Simpkin. He sniffed and mewed at the door of the shop. And then I bought a pipkin, a popkin, a slipkin, and a slopkin, all for 1 farthing. And upon the kitchen dresser, added the rude little mice. Meow, scratch, scratch, scuffled Simpkin on the windowsill, while the little mice inside sprang to their feet and all began to shout at once in little twittering voices. No more twist, no more twist. And they barred up the window shutters and shut out Simpkin. But still, through the nicks in the shutters, he could hear the click of thimbles and little mouse voices singing. No more twist, no more twist. Simpkin came away from the shop and went home, considering in his mind. he found the poor old tailor without fever, sleeping peacefully. Then Simpkin went on tiptoe and took a little parcel of silk out of the teapot and looked at it in the moonlight. He felt quite ashamed of his badness compared to those good little mice. Here's this picture I forgot to show. Sorry. When the tailor awoke in the morning, the first thing which he saw upon the patchwork quilt was a skein of cherry-colored twisted silk, and beside his bed stood the repentant Simpkin. "Alack, I am worn to a ravelling," said the tailor of Gloucester, "but I have my twist." The sun was shining on the snow when the tailor got up and dressed, and came out into the street with Simpkin running before him. The starlings whistled on the chimney stacks, and the throstles and robins sang, but they sang their own little noises and not words they had sung in the night. "Alack," said the tailor, "I have my twist, but no more strength, nor time, than will serve to make me one single buttonhole, for this is Christmas Day in the morning. The mayor of Gloucester shall be married by noon, and where is his cherry-colored coat?" He unlocked the door of his little shop in Westgate Street, and Simpkin ran in like a cat that expects something. But there was no one there, not even one little brown mouse. The boards were swept clean, the little ends of thread and the little silk snippets were all tidied away and gone from off the floor. But upon the table, oh joy! The tailor gave a shout. There, where he had left plain cuttings of silk, there lay the most beautifulest coat and embroidered satin waistcoat that were ever worn by a mayor of Gloucester. There were roses and pansies upon the facings of the coat, and the waistcoat was worked with poppies and cornflowers. Everything was finished except just one single cherry-colored buttonhole. And where that buttonhole was wanting, there was pinned a scrap of paper with the words, in little teeny-weeny writing, "No more twist." And from then began the luck of the tailor of Gloucester. He grew quite stout, and he grew quite rich. There's the no more twist. He made the most wonderful waistcoats for the rich merchants of Gloucester, and for all the fine gentlemen of the country round. Never were seen such ruffles or such embroidered cuffs and lappets, but his buttonholes were the greatest triumph of it all. The stitches of those buttonholes were so neat, I wonder how they could have been stitched by an old man in spectacles, with crooked old fingers, and a tailor's thimble. The stitches of those buttonholes were so small, so small. They looked as if they had been made by little mice. The end. And they were. Hold on one moment. Wasn't that a lovely story? That one's my favorite, you guys. Did you like it? I'm kind of switching between whispering and soft speaking because my throat is a little bit sore. I hope that's okay. Okay. Okay, so the next story I will read to you guys is The Tale of Squirrel Nutkin. So let me just get the pictures ready. Hold on, give me one moment. I'm glad you guys are liking it. Mm. Here we go, I found the pictures. Alright. So this is The Tale of Squirrel Nutkin. The dedication simply says, a story for Nora. This is a tale about a tale that belonged to a little red squirrel, and his name was Nutkin. He had a brother called Twinkleberry, and a great many cousins. They lived in a wood at the edge of a lake. In the middle of the lake, there is an island covered with trees and nut bushes, and amongst those trees stands a hollow oak tree, which is the house of an old owl, who is called Old Brown. One autumn when the nuts were ripe, and the leaves on the hazel bushes were golden and green, Nutkin and Twinkleberry and all the other little squirrels came out of the wood and down to the edge of the lake. They made little rafts out of twigs, and they paddled away over the water to Owl Island to gather nuts. Each squirrel had a little sack and a large oar, and spread out his tail for a sail. They also took with them an offering of 3 fat mice as a present for Old Brown, and put them down upon his doorstep. Then Twinkleberry and the other little squirrels each made a low bow and said politely, "Old Mr. Brown, will you favor us with permission to gather nuts upon your island?" But Nutkin was excessively impertinent in his manners. He bobbed up and down like a little red cherry, singing, riddle me, rat-tat-tot, a little wee man in a red, red coat, a staff in his hand, and a stone in his throat. If you'll tell me this riddle, I'll give you a groat. What a little meow hole. Now this riddle is as old as the hills. Mr. Brown paid no attention whatever to Nutkin. He shut his eyes obstinately and went to sleep. The squirrels filled their little sacks with nuts and sailed away home in the evening. But next morning they all came back again to Owl Island, and Twinkleberry and the others brought a fine fat mole and laid it on the stone in front of Old Brown's doorway and said, "Mr. Brown, will you favor us with your gracious permission to gather some more nuts?" But Nutkin, who had no respect, began to bounce up and down, tickling old Mr. Brown with a nettle and singing, "Old Mr. B, riddle me ree, Harry Pitty within the wall, Harry Pitty without the wall. If you touch Harry Pitty will bite you." Mr. Brown woke up suddenly and carried the mole into his house. And there he's being tickled with the nettle. Yeah, thanks, Nutkin. He shut the door in Nutkin's face. Presently, a little thread of blue smoke from a wood fire came from the top of the tree, and Nutkin peeped through the keyhole and sang, "A houseful, a holeful, and you cannot gather a bowlful." He's such a little meow hole. What the heck? The squirrels searched for nuts all over the island and filled their little sacks. But Nutkin gathered oak apples, yellow and scarlet, and sat upon a beech stump playing marbles and watching the door of old Mr. Brown. On the third day the squirrels got up very early and went fishing, they caught 7 fat minnows as a present for old Mr. Brown. They paddled over the lake and landed under a crooked chestnut tree on Owl Island. Twinkleberry and 6 other little squirrels each carried a fat minnow, but Nutkin, who had no nice manners, brought no present at all. He ran in front singing. The man in the wilderness said to me, "How many strawberries grow in the sea?" I answered him, as I thought good, "As many red herrings as grow in the wood." But old Mr. Brown took no interest in riddles, not even when the answer was provided for him. On the 4th day, the squirrels brought a present of 6 fat beetles, which were as good as plums in plum pudding for Old Brown. Each beetle was wrapped up carefully in a dock leaf, fastened with a pine needle pin. But Nutkin sang as rudely as ever. Old Mr. B, riddle me ree. Flower of England, fruit of Spain, met together in a shower of rain, put in a bag tied round with a string. If you tell me this riddle, I'll give you a ring. Which was ridiculous of Nutkin, because he had not got any ring to give to Old Brown. He's such a little... Oh my god. He's so rude. The other squirrels hunted up and down the nut bushes, but Nutkin gathered Robin's pincushions off a briar bush and stuck them full of pine needle pins. What are you doing? What are you doing, Nutkin? I'm sorry if my giggling is too loud. I'm really sorry. On the 5th day, the squirrels brought a present of wild honey. It was so sweet and sticky that they licked their fingers as they put it down upon the stone. They had stolen it out of a bumblebee's nest on the tippity top of the hill, but Nutkin skipped up and down, singing, "Hum-a-bum, buzz, buzz, hum-a-bum, buzz." As I went over Tipple Time, I met a flock of bonny swine, some yellow-nacked, some yellow-backed. They were the very bonniest swine that e'er went over Tipple Time. Hold on, where am I in the pictures? Here we are. Old Mr. Brown turned up his eyes in disgust at the impertinence of Nutkin, but he ate up the honey. The squirrels filled their little sacks with nuts, but Nutkin sat upon a big flat rock and played ninepins with a crab apple and green fir cones. Oh my god, he's freaking bowling. He's bowling while everyone else is doing all the work. Hold on, take a sip of coffee. He's having a grand old time. On the 6th day, which was Saturday, the squirrels came in. That's today! The squirrels came again for the last time. They brought a new laid egg in a little rush basket as a last parting present for Old Brown. But Nutkin ran in front, laughing and shouting. Humpty Dumpty lies in the back with a white counterpane round his neck. 40 doctors and 40 rights cannot put Humpty Dumpty to rights. Now old Mr. Brown took an interest in eggs. He opened one eye and shut it again, but still he did not speak. Nutkin became more and more impertinent. Old Mr. B, old Mr. B, hickamore hackamore on the king's kitchen door. All the king's horses and all the king's men couldn't drive hickamore hackamore off the kitchen's door. Look at him dance, look at him dance. Sorry, look at him dance though. It's totally a Fortnite dance. Nutkin danced up and down like a sunbeam, but still, Old Brown said nothing at all. Nutkin began again. Arthur O'Bower has broken his band. He comes roaring up the land. The King of Scots, with all his power, cannot turn Arthur of the Bower. Nutkin made a whirring noise to sound like the wind. And he took a running jump right onto the head of Old Brown. Then all at once there was a flutterment and a scufflement and a loud squeak. The other squirrels scuttered away into the bushes. When they came back very cautiously, peeping round the tree, there was Old Brown, sitting on his doorstep quite still, with his eyes closed, as if nothing had happened. But Nutkin was in his waistcoat pocket. Oh, this is sad. Okay. This looks like the end of the story, but it isn't. Old Brown carried Nutkin into his house and held him up by the tail, intending to skin him, but Nutkin pulled so very hard that his tail broke in two, and he dashed up the staircase and escaped out the attic window. And to this day, if you meet Nutkin up a tree and ask him the riddle, he will throw sticks at you and stamp his feet and scold and shout. He's okay, his tail is just a little messed up now. He will scold and shout. Cuck, 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 cuck. The end. Wow. That'll teach you to not have respect, Squirrel Nutkin. You guys better be careful. You gotta show me respect, or I might pull off your little bucko legs. Don't be a little meow. me get the next story ready. Next, I think we will read The Tale of Peter Rabbit, which I think is the most famous of the Beatrix Potter tales. Just a couple more stories, I think, and then I'll be done for the day to rest my throat. All right. The Tale of Peter Rabbit. I need more coffee. Yeah, this one is the most famous. The Tale of Peter Rabbit by Beatrix Potter. Once upon a time, there were 4 little rabbits, and their names were Flopsy, Mopsy, Cottontail, and Peter. They lived with their mother in a sandbank underneath the root of a very big fir tree. Now, my dears, said old Miss Rabbit one morning, you may go into the fields or down the lane, but don't go into Mr. McGregor's garden. Your father had an accident there. He was put in a pie by Mr. McGregor. Now run along and don't get into mischief. I am going out. Then old Mrs. Rabbit took a basket and her umbrella and went through the wood to the baker's. She bought a loaf of brown bread and 5 currant buns. Oh, look how sweet she looks. That's what I look like when I'm going out to the bakery. Do you believe it? Flopsy, Mopsy, and Cottontail, who were good little bunnies, went down the lane to gather blueberries. But Peter, who was very naughty, ran straight away to Mr. McGregor's garden and squeezed under the gate. First, he ate some lettuces and some French beans. Then he ate some radishes. And then, feeling rather sick, he went to look for some parsley. But round the end of a cucumber frame, whom should he meet but Mr. McGregor? Mr. McGregor was also on his hands and knees, planting out young cabbages. But he jumped up and ran after Peter, waving a rake and calling out, "Stop, thief!" Peter was most dreadfully frightened. He rushed all over the garden, for he had forgotten the way back to the gate. He's just like me. He lost one of his shoes among the cabbages, and the other shoe amongst the potatoes. After losing them, he ran on 4 legs and went faster, so that I think he might have got away altogether if he had not, unfortunately, ran into a gooseberry net and got caught by the large buttons on his jacket. It was a blue jacket with brass buttons, quite new. Peter gave himself up for lost and shed big tears, but his sobs were overheard by some friendly sparrows, who flew to him in great excitement and implored him to exert himself. "Ah, they're saying we believe in you." Mr. McGregor came up with a sieve, which he intended to pop on the top of Peter, but Peter wriggled out just in time, leaving his jacket behind him. And rushed into the tool shed and jumped into a can. It would have been a beautiful thing to hide in if it had not so much water in it. Mr. McGregor was quite sure that Peter was somewhere in the tool shed, perhaps hidden underneath a flower pot. He began to turn them over carefully, looking under each. Presently, Peter sneezed. "Curty-shoo!" Mr. McGregor was after him in no time. And tried to put his foot upon Peter, who jumped out of a window, upsetting 3 plants. The window was too small for Mr. McGregor, and he was tired of running after Peter. He went back to his work. Peter sat down to rest. He was out of breath and trembling with fright, and he had not the least idea which way to go. Also, he was very damp with sitting in the can. After a time, he began to wander about, going lippity-lippity, not very fast, and looking all round. He found a door in the wall, but it was locked, and there was no room for a fat little rabbit to squeeze underneath. An old mouse was running in and out over the stone doorstep, carrying peas and beans to her family in the wood. Oh! Peter asked her the way to the gate, but she had such a large pea in her mouth that she could not answer. She only shook her head at him. Peter began to cry. Peter, it's okay. It's okay, Peter. He's gonna be okay, right? Peter. I get he's so sad and scared and lost. Then he tried to find his way straight across the garden, but he became more and more puzzled. Presently, he came to a pond where Mr. McGregor filled his water cans. A white cat was staring at some goldfish. She sat very, very still, but now and then the tip of her tail twitched as if it were alive. Peter thought it best to go away without speaking to her. He had heard about cats from his cousin, little Benjamin Bunny. He went back towards the tool shed, but suddenly, quite close to him, he heard the noise of a hoe. Scratch, 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 scratch. Peter scuttered underneath the bushes, but presently, as nothing happened, he came out and climbed upon a wheelbarrow and peeped over. The first thing he saw was Mr. McGregor hoeing onions. His back was turned towards Peter, and beyond him was the gate. Peter got down very quietly off the wheelbarrow and started running as fast as he could go along a straight walk behind some blackcurrant bushes. Sorry for my voice. Mr. McGregor caught sight of him at the corner, but Peter did not care. He slipped underneath the gate and was safe at last in the wood outside the garden. Mr. McGregor hung up the little jacket and the shoes for a scarecrow to frighten the blackbirds. Peter never stopped running or looked behind him until he got home to the big fir tree. He was so tired that he flopped down upon the nice, soft floor of the rabbit hole and shut his eyes. His mother was busy cooking. She wondered what he had done with his clothes. It was the second little jacket and pair of shoes that Peter had lost in a fortnight. What a goof. What a goofball. I'm sorry to say that Peter was not very well during the evening. His mother put him to bed and made some chamomile tea, and she gave a dose of it to Peter. 1 tablespoonful to be taken at bedtime. But Flopsy, Mopsy, and Cottontail had bread and milk and blackberries for supper. The end. Sorry. I felt so bad for poor Peter Rabbit. Imagine being so lonely and scared. Yeah, he's okay. He made it. Just must have been so scary for him. Don't say Peter Griffin. Good thing the birds are bros. Yeah, the birds cheered him on. It's so nice. Your mom read this Steve every night. My mom read a lot of Beatrix Potter books to me too. My favorite was the Tailor of Gloucester, though. Sorry if the sniffing was really loud. Stupid children's stories. I just want to scoop up Peter Rabbit and hug him really tight. That actually reminds me of a a nursery rhyme my mom used to sing to me. I'm trying to remember how it goes. Let me see if I can Google it. I remember some of the lyrics. I found it. I found it. You guys want to hear? In a cabin in the woods, little man by the window stood, saw a rabbit hopping by, knocking at his door. Help me, the rabbit said, or the hunter will shoot me dead. Little rabbit, come inside, safely to abide. Itty bitty cabin in the woods, itty bitty man by the window stood, saw a rabbit hopping by, frightened as can be. Help me, help, he said, for the hunter shoots me dead. Come, little rabbit, come with me, happy we will be. Great big cabin in the woods, great big man by the window stood, saw a rabbit hopping by, knocking at his door. Help me, help, he said, or the hunter will shoot me dead. Come, little rabbit, come inside, safely you may hide. Cute, right? I just remember my mom used to sing that to me. No, the rabbit's okay. He went and lived with whoever's in the cabin. It's a happy ending. Okay, let's see here. My mom would sing that to me too. She changed the lyrics to "bop me on my head" instead of "shoot me dead." Oh, that's probably a nicer way to put it. Okay, some other stories that I picked out. Maybe we can decide together. I have the tale of Jemima Puddle Duck, who was a duck. I have the tale of Mr. Jeremy Fisher, who is a froggy, or maybe a toad. Maybe a toad. And then I have the tale of Ginger and Pickles, who are, I think they're mice. Oh no, they're porcupines. And then we have the tale of Samuel Whiskers, or the roly-poly pudding, which I think involves Tom Kitten. Yeah, Tom Cat. Tom Cat is in that one. And then I have the tale of Mrs. Tiggy-Winkle, who is also a porcupine. And then I have the tale of Benjamin Bunny. Do you guys want to hear about the further adventures of Tom Cat? Who was Tom Kitten in the other story? It's a little scary. I will warn you. Yeah, porcupine would be cute. Let's here. I will put aside Mrs. Tiggy-Winkle, and then let's start with the roly-poly pudding, which is a little bit longer, but I think we'll finish off with these two. And then we can read way more. If in the future. Why does Tom Kitten have so many aliases? Because he grew up, so now he's a Tom Cat and he's not a kitten anymore. I'm just finding the pictures for you guys. Hold on. Looking forward to future ASMR too. It will be better in the future once I get my my nicer mic. Sorry, I'm just trying to find one with good pictures. Research for ASMR. I just been listening to some, but there's some stuff that's really crazy that I don't want to do. So it's been hard to find stuff. If you would like to send me suggestions, yeah, go right ahead. That's okay. Alright. In remembrance of Sammy, the intelligent pink-eyed representative of a persecuted but irrepressible race, an affectionate little friend, and the most accomplished thief. Must be this little rat. Must be him. So this is the tale of Samuel Whiskers, or the roly-poly pudding. Wow! Hold on, let me make this bigger. So you guys can see a little bit more. There we go. There's our boy. Once upon a time, there was an old cat called Mrs. Tabitha Twitchit. Wait, did I notice anything off about the barrel in the first picture? Tom! Tom! He's such a goofball. I love Tom Kitten. Okay. Once upon a time, there was an old cat called Mrs. Tabitha Twitchit, who was an anxious parent. She used to lose her kittens continually, and whenever they were lost, they were always into mischief. On baking day, she determined to shut them up in a cupboard. She caught Moppet and Mittens, but she could not find Tom. Mrs. Tabitha went up and down all over the house, meowing for Tom Kitten. She looked in the pantry under the staircase, and she searched the best spare bedroom that was all covered up with dust sheets. She went right upstairs and looked into the attics, but she could not find him anywhere. It was an old, old house, full of cupboards and passages. Some of the walls were 4 feet thick, and there used to be queer noises inside them, as if there might be a little secret staircase. Certainly, there were odd little jagged doorways in the wainscot, and things disappeared at night, especially cheese and bacon. Mrs. Tabitha became more and more distracted and meowed dreadfully. Meow. While their mother was searching the house, Moppet and Mittens had got into mischief. The cupboard door was not locked, so they pushed it open and came out. They went straight to the dough, which was set to rise in a pan before the fire. Oh no! I love these goofy cats so much. They patted it with their little soft paws. "Shall we make dear little muffins?" said Mittens to Moppet. But just at that moment, somebody knocked at the front door and Moppet jumped into the flour barrel in a fright. Mittens ran away to the dairy and hid in an empty jar on the stone shelf where the milk pans stand. There's the milk pans. The visitor was a neighbor, Mrs. Ribby. She had called to borrow some yeast. Mrs. Tabitha came downstairs meowing dreadfully. "Come in, Cousin Ribby, come in and sit ye down. I'm in sad trouble, Cousin Ribby," said Tabitha, shedding tears. "I've lost my dear son Thomas. I'm afraid the rats have got him." She wiped her eyes with her apron. "He's a bad kitten, Cousin Tabitha. He made a cat's cradle out of my best bonnet last time I came to tea. Where have you looked for him?" "All over the house. The rats are too many for me. What a thing it is to have an unruly family," said Mrs. Tabitha Twitchit. "I'm not afraid of rats. I will help you to find him and whip him too. What is all that soot in the fender?" "The chimney wants sweeping. Oh dear me, Cousin Ribby. Now Moppet and Mittens are gone. They've both got out of the cupboard." Ribby and Tabitha set to work to search the house thoroughly again. They poked under the bed with Ribby's umbrella, and they rummaged in cupboards. They even fetched a candle and looked inside a clothes chest in one of the attics. They could not find anything. but once they heard a door bang and somebody scuttered downstairs. Yes, it is infested with rats, said Tabitha tearfully. I caught 7 young ones out of one hole in the back kitchen, and we had them for dinner last Saturday. And once I saw the old father rat, an enormous old rat, cousin Ribby. I was just going to jump upon him when he showed his yellow teeth at me and whisked down the hole. The rats get upon my nerves, cousin Ribby, said Tabitha. Why are you gonna cry? Don't cry. It's not scary yet. Ribby and Tabitha searched and searched. They both heard a curious roly-poly noise under the attic floor, but there was nothing to be seen. They returned to the kitchen. Here's one of your kittens at least, said Ribby, dragging Moppet out of the flour barrel. They shook the flour off her and set her down on the kitchen floor. She seemed to be in a terrible fright. This one. Oh, mother, said Moppet. There's been an old woman rat in the kitchen, and she's stolen some of the dough. The 2 cats ran to look at the dough pan. Sure enough, there were marks of little scratching fingers, and a lump of dough was gone. Which way does she go, Moppet? But Moppet had been too much frightened to peep out of the barrel again. Ribby and Tabitha took her with them to keep her safely in sight while they went on with their search. They went into the dairy. The first thing they found was Mittens, hiding in an empty jar. They tipped up the jar and she scrambled out. Oh, mother, said Mittens. Oh, mother, there's been an old man rat in the dairy, a dreadful, enormous big rat, mother, and she's stolen a pat of butter and the rolling pin. Ribby and Tabitha looked at one another. A rolling pin and butter. Oh, my poor son Thomas, exclaimed Tabitha, wringing her paws. Oh. I love these stupid kitties. A rolling pin, said Ribby. Did we not hear a roly-poly noise in the attic when we were looking into that chest? Ribby and Tabitha rushed upstairs again. Sure enough, the roly-poly noise was still going on quite distinctly under the attic floor. This is serious, Cousin Tabitha, said Ribby. We must send for John Joyner at once with a saw. Now this is what had been happening to Tom Kitten, and it shows how very unwise it is to go up a chimney in a very old house where a person does not know his way and where there are enormous rats. Tom Kitten did not want to be shut up in a cupboard. When he saw that his mother was going to bake, he determined to hide. He looked about for a nice convenient place, and he fixed upon the chimney. The fire had only just been lighted, and it was not hot, but there was a white choky smoke from the green sticks. Tom Kitten got upon the fender and looked up. It was a big, old-fashioned fireplace. The chimney itself was wide enough inside for a man to stand up and walk about, so there was plenty of room for a little tomcat. He jumped right up into the fireplace, balancing himself upon the iron bar where the kettle hangs. Tom Kitten took another big jump off the bar and landed on a ledge high up inside the chimney, knocking down some soot into the fender. Tom Kitten coughed and choked with the smoke, and he could hear the sticks beginning to crackle and burn in the fireplace down below. He made up his mind to climb right to the top and get out on the slates and try to catch sparrows. I cannot go back. If I slipped, I might fall in the fire and singe my beautiful tail and my little blue jacket. The chimney was a very big old-fashioned one. It was built in the days of when people burnt logs of wood upon the hearth. The chimney stack stood up above the roof like a little stone tower, and the daylight shone down from the top under the slanting slates that kept out the rain. Tom Kitten was getting very frightened. He climbed up and up and up, then he waded sideways through inches of soot. He was like a little sweep himself. It was most confusing in the dark. One flue seemed to lead into another. There was less smoke, but Tom Kitten felt quite lost. He scrambled up and up, but before he reached the chimney top, he came to a place where somebody had loosened a stone in the wall. His face. There were some mutton bones lying about. Not mutton bones. This seems funny, said Tom Kitten, who has been gnawing bones up here in the chimney. I wish I had never come. And what a funny smell. It is something like mouse, only dreadfully strong. It makes me sneeze, said Tom Kitten. He squeezed through a hole in the wall and dragged himself along a most uncomfortably tight passage where there was scarcely any light. He groped his way carefully for several yards. He was at the back of the skirting board in the attic, where there is a little mark in the picture. Do you see the little mark? At once he fell head over heels in the dark, down a hole, and landed on a heap of very dirty rags. When Tom Kitten picked himself up and looked about him, he found himself in a place that he had never seen before, although he had lived all his life in the house. It was a very small and stuffy, fusty room, with boards and rafters, and cobwebs, and lath and plaster. Opposite to him, as far away as he could sit, was an enormous rat. "What do you mean by tumbling into my bed covered with smuts?" said the rat, chattering his teeth. "Please, sir, the chimney wants sweeping," said poor Tom Kitten. Schmutz, probably schmutz, not smuts." Oh, God. "Anna Maria! Anna Maria!" squeaked the rat. There was a pattering noise, and an old woman rat poked her head round a rafter. All in a minute she rushed upon Tom Kitten, and before he knew what was happening, his coat was pulled off, and he was rolled up in a bundle and tied with string in very hard knots. Anna Maria did the tying. The old rat watched her and took snuff. When she had finished, they both sat staring at him with their mouths open. "Anna Maria," said the old man rat, whose name was Samuel Whiskers. "Anna Maria, make me a kitten dumpling roly-poly pudding for my dinner." "It requires dough and a pat of butter and a rolling pin," said Anna Maria, considering Tom Kitten with her head on one side. Anna Maria sounds like stuff when you say stuff like edumacation. Anna Maria edumacation saxophone. Oh no. No, said Samuel Whiskers. Make it properly, Anna Maria. Breadcrumbs. Nonsense, butter and dough, replied Anna Maria. The two rats consulted together for a few minutes and then went away. Samuel Whiskers got through a hole in the wainscot and went boldly down to the front staircase to the dairy to get the butter. He did not meet anybody. He made a second journey for the rolling pin. He pushed it in front of him with his paws, like a poor man trundling a barrel. He could hear Ribby and Tabitha talking, but they were busy lighting the candle to look into the chest. They did not see him. Anna Maria went down by way of the skirting board and a window shutter to the kitchen to steal the dough. She borrowed a small saucer and scooped up the dough with her paws. She did not observe Moppet. No, Tom! He yoinked the whole rolling pin. I thought he'd have a mouse-sized one. Well, it's a cat-sized one, so it's still pretty small. While Tom Kitten was left alone under the floor of the attic, he wriggled about and tried to mew for help. But his mouth was full of soot and cobwebs, and he was tied in such very tight knots he could not make anybody hear him. Except a spider, who came out of a crack in the ceiling and examined the knots critically from a safe distance. That spider? Me. It was a judge of knots because it had a habit of tying up unfortunate blue bottles. It did not offer to assist him. No, I would totally help him. Tom Kitten wriggled and squirmed until he was quite exhausted. Sorry, I had to cough. Presently, the rats came back and set to work to make him into a dumpling. First they smeared him with butter, and then they rolled him in the dough. Will not the string be very indigestible, Anna Maria? Inquired Samuel Whiskers. No, it was not me. I would have helped him. You know I would have. Anna Maria said she thought that it was of no consequence, but she wished that Tom Kitten would hold his head still, as it disarranged the pastry. She laid hold of his ears. Tom Kitten bit and spat and mewed and wriggled, and the rolling pin went roly-poly, roly, roly-poly, roly. The rats each held an end. His tail is sticking out. You did not fetch enough dough, Anna Maria. I fetched as much as I could carry, replied Anna Maria. I do not think, said Samuel Whiskers, pausing to take a look at Tom Kitten. I do not think it will be a good pudding. It smells sooty. Anna Maria was about to argue the point when all at once there began to be other sounds up above. The rasping noise of a saw, and the noise of a little dog scratching and yelping. The rats dropped the rolling pin and listened attentively. We are discovered and interrupted. Anna Maria, let us collect our property and other people's, and depart at once. I fear we shall be obliged to leave this pudding. But I am persuaded that the knots would have proved indigestible, whatever you may urge to the contrary. Come away at once and help me to tie up some mutton bones in a counterpane, said Anna Maria. I've got half a smoked ham hidden in the chimney. So it happened that by the time John Joyner had got the plank up, there was nobody under the floor except the rolling pin and Tom Kitten and a very dirty dumpling. But there was a strong smell of rats, and John Joyner spent the rest of the morning sniffing and whining and wagging his tail and going round and round with his head in the hole like a gimlet. Then he nailed the plank down again and put his tools in his bag and came downstairs. The cat family had quite recovered. They invited him to stay to dinner. The dumpling had been peeled off Tom Kitten and made separately into a bag pudding with currants in it to hide the schmutz. They're gonna eat the schmutz. Oh no. They had been obliged to put Tom Kitten in a hot bath to get the butter off. John Joyner smelt the pudding, but he regretted that he had not time to stay to dinner, because he had just finished making a wheelbarrow for Miss Potter, and she had ordered 2 hen coops. And when I was going to get the post late in the afternoon, I looked up the lane from the corner, where I saw Mr. Samuel Whiskers and his wife on the run, with big bundles on a little wheelbarrow, which looked very like mine. They were just turning in at the gate to the barn of Farmer Potatoes. Samuel Whiskers was puffing and out of breath. Anna Maria was still arguing in shrill tones. They seemed to know her way, and she seemed to have a quantity of luggage. I am sure I never gave her leave to borrow my wheelbarrow. They went into the barn and hauled off their parcels with a bit of string to the top of the haymow. After that, there were no more rats for a long time at Tabitha Twitchit's. As for Farmer Potatoes, he has been driven nearly distracted. There are rats and rats and rats in his barn. They eat up the chicken food and steal the oats and bran and make holes in the meal bags. And they are all descended from Mr. and Mrs. Samuel Whiskers, children and grandchildren and great-great-grandchildren. There is no end to them. Moppet and Mittens have grown up into very good rat catchers. They go out rat catching in the village, and they find plenty of employment. They charge so much a dozen and earn their living very comfortably. They hang up the rats' tails in a row on the barn door to show how many they have caught. Dozens and dozens of them. But Tom Kitten has always been afraid of a rat and never durst face anything that is bigger than a mouse. The end. So that was a little continuation of Tom Kitten's story. I love that little guy. I love all the cats and the way they're drawn. The Their faces are so silly. They look so cat-like. They remind me of my own kitties. I love it. How you doing up there, Buckle? You guys comfy up there? You can be up there. They're so cute. I love the drawings. I love all of them so much. Super comfy. Yay, 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 okay. I'm glad. The last story we have is pretty short. It's the tale of Mrs. Tiggy-Winkle. You wanna go under the blanket? Hold on, I think I can make that happen. Sorry, I'm back. I was just putting you guys in there. Oh, let me put my glasses back on. Hold on. We need these to be able to read properly. Oh, there we go. There, now you guys are in there. Are you comfy? I hope you guys are having a nice time. Okay, we're gonna read the tale of Mrs. Tiggy-Winkle. I just have to get the pictures, okay? I hope the typing is not too loud. Hold on. Okay. I found it. The tale of Mrs. Tiggy-Winkle. Here's the book. And doesn't she look so lovely? She looks like such a proper lady. She's like, oh, hello. I'm just a little Tiggy-Winkle. Can you spare some, can you spare some, can you spare can you spare a pat of butter for me? She's so cute. She'd call you sugar pie, I bet so. I am a proper lady as well, yes. This one's pretty short. The Tale of Mrs. Tiggy-Winkle. By Beatrix Potter. It says, in the dedication it says, for the real little Lucy of Newlands. Once upon a time, there was a little girl called Lucy who lived at a farm called Little Town. She was a good little girl, only she was always losing her pocket handkerchiefs. One day, little Lucy came into the farmyard crying. Oh, did she cry so? I have lost my pocket handkin, 3 handkins and a penny. Have you seen them, Tabby Kitten? The kitten went on washing her white paws, so Lucy asked a speckled hen, Sally Hennypenny, have you found 3 pocket handkins? But the speckled hen ran into a barn, clucking, I go barefoot, barefoot, barefoot. And then Lucy asked Cock Robin, sitting on a twig. Cock Robin looked sideways at Lucy with his bright black eye, and he flew over a stile and away. Lucy climbed upon the stile and looked up at the hill behind Little Town, a hill that goes up, up, into the clouds, as though it had no top. And a great way up the hillside, she thought she saw some white things spread upon the grass. Lucy scrambled up the hill as far as her short legs would carry her. She ran along a steep pathway, up and up, until Little Town was right away down below. She could have dropped a pebble down the chimney. Wow, what a view! Very beautiful. Presently, she came to a spring, bubbling out from the hillside. Someone had stood a tin can upon a stone to catch the water, but the water was already running over, for the can was no bigger than an egg cup. And where the sand upon the path was wet, there were footmarks of a very small person. Lucy ran on and on. The path ended under a big rock. The grass was short and green, and there were clothes, props cut from bracken stems, with lines of plaited rushes, and a heap of tiny clothespins, but no pocket handkerchiefs. But there was something else, a door. Straight into the hill, and inside it someone was singing. Lily whitey clean, oh, with little frills between, oh, smooth and hot, red rusty spot, never here be seen, oh. Lucy knocked once, twice, and interrupted the song. A little frightened voice called out, Who's that? Lucy opened the door, and what do you think was inside the hill? A nice, clean kitchen with a flagged floor and wooden beams, just like any other farm kitchen. Only the ceiling was so low that Lucy's head nearly touched it, and the pots and pans were small. And so was everything there. There was a nice hot, singy smell, and at the table with an iron in her hand stood a very stout, short person staring anxiously at Lucy. Her print gown was tucked up, and she was wearing a large apron over her striped petticoat. Her little black nose went sniffle, 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 and her eyes went twinkle, twinkle, and underneath her cap, where Lucy had yellow curls, that little person had prickles. illustrations of the animals tickle me so much. They're so cute. They're so freaking sweet. I love it. The smile. The freaking face. Oh, sorry. Who are you? Said Lucy. Have you seen my pocket handkins? The little person made a bob curtsy. Oh, yes, if you please, My name is Mrs. Tiggy-Winkle. Oh, yes, if you please, I'm an excellent clear starcher. And she took something out of a clothes basket and spread it on the ironing blanket. What's that thing? Said Lucy. That's not my little pocket handkin. Oh, if you please, that's a little scarlet waistcoat belonging to Cock Robin. And she ironed it and folded it on one side. Then she took something else off a clothes horse. That isn't my penny, said Lucy. Oh no, if you please, that's a damask tablecloth belonging to Jenny Wren. Look how it's stained with currant wine. It's very bad to wash, said Mrs. Tiggy-Winkle. Mrs. Tiggy-Winkle's nose went sniffle, sniffle, snuffle, and her eyes went twinkle, twinkle, and she fetched another hot iron from the fire. There's one of my pocket handkins, cried Lucy, and there's my penny. Mrs. Tiggy-Winkle ironed it and goffered it and shook out the frills. Oh, that is lovely, said Lucy. And what are those long yellow things with finger-like gloves? Oh, that's a pair of stockings belonging to Sally Hennypenny. Look how she's worn the heels out, with scratching in the yard. She'll very soon go barefoot, said Mrs. Tiggy-Winkle. Why, there's another handkersniff. But it isn't mine. It's red. Oh no, if you please, that one belongs to old Mrs. Rabbit, and it did so smell of onions. I've had to wash it separately. I can't get out the smell. There's another of mine, said Lucy. What are those funny little white things? That's a pair of mittens belonging to Tabby Kitten. I only have to iron them. She washes them herself. There's my last pocket handkin, said Lucy. And what are you dipping into the basin of starch? They're little dicky shirt fronts belonging to Tom Titmouse. Most terrible particular, said Mrs. Tiggy-Winkle. Now I've finished my ironing, I'm going to air some clothes. What are these dear, soft, fluffy things? Said Lucy. Oh, those are woolly coats belonging to the little lambs at Skelgyle. Will their jackets take off? Asked Lucy. Oh, yes, if you please, Look at this sheep mark on the shoulder. And here's one marked for Kate's scarf, and 3 that came from Littletown. They're always marked at washing, said Mrs. Tiggy-Winkle. And she hung up all sorts and sizes of clothes, small brown coats of mice, one velvety black moleskin waistcoat, and a red tailcoat with no tail, belonging to Squirrel Nutkin. And a very much shrunk blue jacket belonging to Peter Rabbit, and a petticoat not marked that had gone lost in the washing. But at last the basket was empty. Then Mrs. Tiggy-Winkle made tea, a cup for herself and a cup for Lucy. They sat before the fire on a bench and looked sideways at one another. Mrs. Tiggy-Winkle's hand, holding that teacup, was very, very brown and very, very wrinkly with the soap suds, and all through her gown and cap there were hairpins sticking wrong end out, so that Lucy didn't like to sit too near her. When they had finished tea, they tied up the clothes in bundles, and Lucy's pocket handkerchiefs were folded up inside her clean pinny and fastened with a silver safety pin. Then they made up the fire with turf, and came out and locked the door and hid the key under the door sill. A little human, Dan, I believe those are called children. Then, away down the hill trotted Lucy and Mrs. Tiggy-Winkle with a bundle of clothes. All the way down the path, the little animals came out of the fern to meet them. The very first that they met were Peter Rabbit and Benjamin Bunny. And she gave them their nice clean clothes, and all the little animals and birds were so very much obliged to dear Mrs. Tiggy-Winkle. So that at the bottom of the hill, when they came to the stile, there was nothing left to carry except Lucy's one little bundle. Lucy scrambled up the stile with the bundle in her hand. Then she turned to say, "Good night," and to thank the washerwoman. But what a very odd thing! Mrs. Tiggy-Winkle had not waited either for thanks or for the washing bill. She was running up the hill, and where was her white frilled cap, and her shawl, and her gown, and her petticoat? And how small she had grown, and how brown and covered with prickles! Why, Mrs. Tiggy-Winkle was nothing but a hedgehog. Now, some people say that little Lucy had been asleep upon the stile. But then how could she have found 3 clean pocket handkins and a penny pinned with a silver safety pin? And besides, I have seen that door into the back of the hill called Cat Bells. And besides, I am very well acquainted with dear Mrs. Piggy-Winkle. Tiggy-Winkle, sorry. not Piggy-Winkle, Tiggy-Winkle. The end. No, I'm the little Piggy-Winkle. Hello, everyone who just joined us. I think we're done reading stories for today. But I can still hang out and chat for a little bit if you guys are okay with that. Hold on, let me fix my blankie here. Hold on. There we go, I think that's much better. There you guys are. I can't reach you. I can't reach. I can't reach. These stories are great. I love the stories. I love the way they're written. And I love the illustrations and the drawings, and I love the silly faces of the animals. No hug this time because I think it will be too loud with this mic, but I'm gonna try it when I get my when I get my better mic, okay? It was very lovely. I'm so glad. I'm so glad you guys had a nice time. I'm sorry for accidentally clearing my throat really loud that one time. I thought it was muted, but my mute button was not working. I didn't spit on you, I kissed you. Were you in a rush when you woke up today? Yeah. Because I had to go get coffee and stuff too, so. The Tom faces are so cute and funny, so silly boy. I love those little guys. And did you guys like Simpkin? Simpkin is one of my favorites, the cat. The cat in the Tailor of Gloucester. He really loved his dad, the tailor, but he also is a vindictive little kitty, and he wanted the mice uh to himself to eat. So he was like, I'm not gonna give you your cherry twist. He was quite the kitty. Nutkin had zoomer energy. No. It was a very nice story. Yeah. You can relate to Nutkin? Okay, you know. Love that one the most too. I love the Tailor of Gloucester. I love the ones that have people involved, I think, because it's like, I don't know, the animals are helping the people. And it's really, really sweet. Oh, I was so sleepy today, you guys. Those really take me back, especially since Twinkberry was my stage name when I was putting myself through college. Mr. Friend. You say the most ridiculous things sometimes. I'm so comfy. I'm wearing a big sweater. I'm all coffeeed up. I got my coffee. I've been real cozy. Yeah, I like when the animals and the people interact as well. I think it's really fun. So, you know, the kitty cat really did care about his dad, but he just took him for granted, you know, in the Tailor of Gloucester. And then the mice helped him, and then they helped him through the rest of his career, and he became fat and rich. Well, not fat. Wait, why fat? He became rich. And they're talking about fat so much. Every little naughty animal was apparently fat in this, especially Tom Kitten. Is it really getting cold over there in Ami Planet? Yeah, so cold. So cold. I could fall asleep now. Oh, I'm glad. Yeah, busting. He buzzed the buttons right up. He's so cute. I love those stories. There's lots more where that came from. I picked out 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I picked out 10 for today, and I only ended up reading a couple of them. I only ended up reading four of them. So uh, there's lots more, and there's even more in the, like, aside from that, there's even more in my little set. So we'll definitely be able to read more later. Petson and Findus stories. I don't know if I know those. A farmer and his cat Findus. Oh, more Beatrix Potter Asnor. Yeah. I wonder if the construction will stop soon now that it's getting cold. I think so. I think that's why they're gearing up again, because they're trying to get stuff done before the snow falls. I'm happy I could share these stories with you guys because my mama always read them to me when I was really little. Very special. My 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 parents and my grandparents and stuff got me a lot of classic storybooks. There's another one about like a duck who like knits a long scarf or something. that I want to read. You still are little. No, I'm not. I'm a grown woman. But it's still nice to share these stories with you guys. It's very nice. I like because it brings me back to a time when I was little, you know, and when I um you know, where things were less complicated, and it's nice to share those feelings with you guys. Jonathan Livingston Seagull. No, I don't know that. Could always ask your mom to read one to you for old time's sake. Maybe. Maybe. That's okay. I like reading them to you guys. It's a nice new way for me to experience these stories. I really love it. I really love it a lot. Why am I getting emotional about reading storybooks? This is stupid. You gotta read Pets and Infinities with your mother this Christmas. Since she still has all the books, that sounds so sweet. Wait, let me see if I can find out the name of these other stories that I read. Hold on. I can't find anything about it. I think I'll have to ask my mom if she remembers, because it was a story about like a bird or a duck or something that knitted a very, very long scarf. And I remember it being really sweet. But now I cannot find anything about it. Yeah, maybe I can check with my mama. Maybe you can sneak in during Spider Nephew's story time. Maybe I can read some stories to Spider Nephew as well. Thank you for the race queen, Ami. Oh, you're welcome. Yeah, I posted a new drawing on my community tab if you guys want to see. Other than that, I think I will finish up today and rest my voice a little bit. And maybe try. It's only Saturday still, but maybe I'll try and work on my schedule a bit for tomorrow as well. Okay. Thank you guys very much for coming and spending time with me today. It was very precious and sweet and cozy for me, so I hope it was for you as well. I have a big fuzzy feeling in my heart. Thank you guys so much for coming. Thank you to all of my regulars and irregulars and everyone who came for the first time. Thank you so much to everyone who lurked this stream and everyone who chatted and everyone who will be watching the VOD and commenting on the VOD. I wish you a great sleep. If you decide to sleep to this, okay? And I will see you guys on Monday. Okay, I'm gonna get real close, okay? Otsukaresamiya. Oyasumiya. Bye bye.